Today we are going to start looking at equality. So I want you to take a minute and go to Schoology and open a new document and take a moment or two and write down what equal means. And then also answer the question, are men and women equal? In order to answer this question, I know some of you will just automatically say yes or no, but I just want you to think about it in some of these contexts. So think about at work, do men and women get treated the same? If they have the same job, do they get the same pay? At home, do men and women carry the home life equally? Do they each have jobs that they do, or is there an unbalance there? Do all the laws that are created in the United States apply equally to both men and women? The way society treats people, is that the same for both men and women? So think about some of these filters or these lenses and then answer the question, are men and women equal, and explain why. When you are done with that, you are going to realize that we're going to move into a time period where men and women were not treated equally, and that is the suffrage movement. And in that same document that you have just uploaded and started in Notability, you're going to title it Suffrage Movement Learning Work, and you're going to write down these 2 learning targets. I will identify key people in the women's suffrage movement. So you're going to understand who the important people are that made a difference. And then you're going to analyze how it impacted politics, society's attitudes, and women's roles. So take a minute and write this down in your learning work. The next thing you're going to do, because most people have no real idea what suffrage is you are going to go look it up and define it. So take a moment, go to Google search engine and Google what women's suffrage is. Ultimately, you hopefully came up with a definition similar to this. Suffrage is the right to vote in political elections. So women's suffrage is women getting the right to vote in political elections. So at this time in history, women did not have the right to vote. So let's look at what they did have the right to do. So today we're going to look at a document called the Declaration of Sentiments. And that word declaration is really important because this document was actually created based off another declaration we have called the Declaration of Independence. So this Declaration of Sentiments, was written in Seneca Falls, New York in 1848. It was the first women's rights conference, the first time people got together in a group and talked about what rights women should have. 2 of the key leaders at that time were Elizabeth Stanton and Lucretia Mott, And it was fashioned after the Declaration of Independence because the Declaration freed and gave rights to the citizens of the U.S. And they're pointing out that they are citizens and should be given these rights. So let's go look at that document. As you can see, this is a 1-page document. It has been modified. The original is definitely much longer than this. So you're going to look this over and you're going to read through it, and you are going to be searching for what things women were allowed to do and what they weren't allowed to do. And as you are doing this, you're also going to be answering these questions. So why did the women at Seneca Falls choose to copy the Declaration of Independence? Hint, I already gave you that answer a little earlier in this video, so you can go back and look if you forgot. You're going to identify 3 things that the Declaration complained about as far as how women were treated. If any of the ways they were treated surprised you, and ultimately, do you think any of the things they complained about seem like they are still true today? And that is what you need to complete for your learning work today. If you get this done before the end of the hour, just sit and work on something quietly as other students finish.